For the last 30 years, Westerners have treated Thailand like a financial life raft. Back home in the UK, the US or Europe, the cost of living crisis is eating people alive. Energy bills are a joke, rent is an extortion racket, and a simple bag of groceries requires a small bank loan. So millions of guys came up with the exact same retirement or lifestyle plan. Sell the house, pack the bags, and move to Southeast Asia. And the math was beautiful, wasn't it? You take a modest Western pension or a low-paying online gig or a job teaching English for 35,000 baht a month, and suddenly you're living a life you could never afford in London or Los Angeles. You've got a condo with a pool, you're eating out 3 times a day, and you've got change left over for cold beers. You had a rich passport, and that passport allowed you to live like a king in a developing economy. But I'm here to give you a brutal reality check. If that is still your plan, or if you are clinging to that lifestyle by your fingernails right now, the dream is officially dead. Welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan Unleashed. Today, we are talking about rich passports, poor expats, and the rising cost of comfort. Because over the last couple of years, the landscape has fundamentally cracked. Thailand is no longer a safety valve for the Western working class. The local government has realised they don't need to be the world's budget retirement home anymore. They are actively rewriting the rules to filter out the mid-tier expats and replace them with high net worth individuals. So if you don't have serious money behind you, the system is designed to squeeze you out. So let's talk about the cold, hard numbers that nobody wants to face. So let's start with the most obvious barrier to entry: the immigration system. Historically, staying in Thailand long term was an administrative game. If you didn't quite meet the official financial criteria, you used a visa agent who knew which hands to shake, or you did border runs every 3 months like a professional hobo, and you kept the dream alive on a budget. Well, not anymore. The Thai government has made a massive strategic pivot. They looked at the demographics of the foreigners staying here and decided they wanted an upgrade. Just look at the visa options they've rolled out and pushed recently. They introduced the long-term resident or LTR visa. Now on paper, it sounds fantastic. 10 years of security, fast-track airport service, relaxed reporting. But if you look at the fine print for the wealthy pensioner category, you need a verified passive income or pension of at least 80,000 USD a year. That is nearly £64,000 or over 2.9 million baht. Now, if you make less than that, you have to invest $250,000 into Thai bonds or real estate just to qualify. Now, they have even also overhauled the old elite visa system, rebranding it as the Thailand Privilege Card, and the baseline 5-year option skyrocketed to 650,000 baht. And the top tier packages are millions of baht. That's not a visa fee, that's a wealth tax. Now, you might say, but Dan, I'm just a regular guy. I use the standard annual non-immigrant O retirement or marriage visa. Right, so let's look at those. The official baseline is held at 800,000 baht in a Thai bank, or 65,000 baht a month in foreign income. But immigration departments across the country have drastically tightened the screws on enforcement. The days of using creative banking methods or shady agents to spoof that 800,000 baht deposit are getting completely shut down. They want clean, verifiable, audited international wire transfers. And here is the kicker that blew up everyone's forums recently: the tax code rewrite. As of 2024 and tightening straight through into 2026, Thailand changed the way it handles foreign-sourced income. If you are a tax resident here, meaning you spend more than 180 days a year in the country and you bring your foreign pension, investment income or savings into a Thai bank account to live on, the Revenue Department legally has the right to tax it at progressive personal rates, up to 35%. So think about the irony. People fled the high taxes of the West to live cheaply in the tropics, and now they are facing a Thai tax collector wanting a piece of their British or American pension. And the message from Thai immigration and the Revenue Department isn't subtle. It's very loud and very clear. If you don't bring major capital to the table, we don't want you occupying space. But let's just say you have the cash to clear the visa hurdles. You've got your 800,000 baht sitting in the bank, untouched, earning next to no interest. You think you're safe? You're actually not, because you are sitting on a ticking financial time bomb, the cost of getting old. Now, when you are 32 years old, Thailand is the cheapest paradise on earth. If you crash your motorbike, you pay a couple thousand baht out of pocket at a local clinic, get patched up and go back to the beach. You feel invincible. But a massive chunk of the expat population in Thailand is over the age of 50, 60 or 70, and as an expat you have absolutely zero state safety net. You do not get access to subsidised local healthcare. You are entirely 100% on your own in the private system. For years, the standard OA retirement visa applied from abroad has carried a mandatory health insurance requirement. Originally, the required coverage was low. Then they bumped it up to a mandatory 3 million baht in coverage for inpatient care. So, if you are a 65-year-old male with a minor pre-existing condition, maybe a bit of high blood pressure or a previous cardiac scare, do you have any idea what a qualifying 3 million baht insurance policy costs annually in 2026? The premiums are absolutely astronomical. We are talking thousands of pounds or dollars a year, and it becomes a second rent payment. And it gets worse. As you cross into your 70s, many private insurers will straight up drop you or raise your premiums to a level that forces you to cancel the policy. And this is where the poor expat reality gets horrifying. I have seen it happen 100 times. A guy retires to Thailand on a tight fixed budget. He builds a beautiful life, has a house, a partner, a routine. 10 years pass by, he hits 72, has a stroke or discovers a tumour. Suddenly, he's in a private hospital in Bangkok or Chiang Mai. The bill is ticking up at 50,000 baht a day. And the insurance company finds a loophole and refuses to pay out. Or the policy cap is breached in a week. So what happens next? The family back home gets a frantic call begging them to set up a GoFundMe page. The Thai partner is forced to look into selling the land or the car. The expat is stuck in a medical limbo, too sick to fly back to the UK to use the NHS, but too broke to pay for the bed that he's lying in. And the cheap cost of living completely vanishes the moment your health fails. Comfort isn't just about the price of a plate of pad thai, it's about the price of an ICU bed. And in modern Thailand, high-end medical comfort is strictly a rich man's game. Now, let's look at the daily logistics. Let's talk about the cheap English teacher, or the digital nomad trying to bootstrap a business on $1,200 a month. 15 years ago, a salary of 30,000 to 35,000 baht a month for a native English speaker was standard. You could rent a decent studio apartment for 6,000 baht, spend 10,000 baht on food and drink, and live a very comfortable, stress-free life. But guess what? In 2026, many schools are still trying to offer that exact same 35,000 baht salary. But the purchasing power of that money has been absolutely gutted. Global inflation didn't skip Thailand. Go into a supermarket in Bangkok or Phuket today and look at the imported goods. Look at the price of cheese, butter, decent meat, or Western comfort foods. It is often more expensive than it is in a supermarket in York or Manchester. Even the rent in the expat bubbles has gone crazy, thanks to the massive influx of wealthy digital nomads, tech workers, and high-earning remote professionals who can easily drop 40,000 baht a month on a luxury condo without blinking. So the local landlords have adjusted their expectations. The cheap, authentic 5,000 baht apartments are getting pushed further and further out into the suburbs, away from the infrastructure, away from the transit lines, away from the life you actually moved there to live. The reality of being a poor expat in a developing nation is psychologically brutal. So when you have a rich passport but an empty bank account, you occupy a very weird, uncomfortable social space. The local population looks at you and expects you to have money because of the colour of your skin or the origin of your passport. Remember our talk about the face economy? You are supposed to be the wealthy foreigner. But when you're counting every baht, haggling over the price of a taxi ride, and eating the absolute cheapest street food not out of choice but out of financial desperation, the illusion shatters. You aren't an elite adventurer anymore. You're just a guy struggling to survive, thousands of miles away from home, in a language you don't speak fluently, under a government that views you as a temporary economic unit. Now look, I'm not telling you this to be a miserable bee, or tell you never to move to Thailand. I love the country. It changed my life, and for the right person with the right financial backing, it is still one of the best places on earth to live. But the era of using Southeast Asia as a low-cost dumping ground for an underfunded Western retirement is over. The macroeconomic tide has turned. If you are planning a move out here, you need to stop looking at blogs and YouTube videos from 2018. You need to look at the financial realities of today. You cannot rely on a shoestring budget. You need a rock-solid, inflation-proof income, a bulletproof international health insurance policy, and an emergency exit fund that remains completely untouched in a Western bank account. The rich passport does not buy you a free pass anymore. Thailand has grown up, its economy has modernized, and its government knows its worth. So they've raised the price of admission to paradise. And if you can afford the ticket, then welcome aboard. If you can't, don't make the mistake of jumping into the deep end without a life jacket, because when you drown financially in a foreign country, nobody is coming to fish you out. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're living in Thailand right now, have you felt the financial squeeze? Be honest. Have you seen the cost of visas and insurance alter your long-term plans? Let's get a real, honest discussion going. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button for the unfiltered truth. This is Dan Unleashed, and I'll see you in the next video.